Good morning, I'm Elijah Iraeta, and this is Saber News Channel. This morning is our first broadcast, and it happens to fall on the 250th anniversary of the United States. We didn't pick this date by accident. A new network launching on the same morning the country marks 250 years just feels right. So here's how we're going to do this. We report, and you will decide what it means. That's not a slogan we came up with for today. It's the whole reason this network exists, for you to decide. We've got a busy first show. The Supreme Court ruled on birthright citizenship this term, and we'll break down exactly what the opinion says and what it doesn't. There's a primary result out of Colorado that's turning heads, and we are tracking the latest out of Iran. All that straight ahead. Stick with us. We start this morning with the Supreme Court. The justices ruled 6-3 that children born on U.S. soil are citizens at birth. That included children born to parents who were here illegally or temporarily. The ruling came in on Tuesday in the case Trump versus Barbara, and the court held that the children born in the United States to parents unlawfully or temporarily present were, quote, subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, and were citizens at birth under the 14th Amendment Citizenship Clause. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote the majority opinion, and this case was about Executive Order 14160. President Trump signed it on his first day back in office. The order was written to end birthright citizenship for children whose parents didn't have citizenship or lawful permanent residency at the time of his birth. Every court that reviewed this order before the ruling blocked it, and the Supreme Court's decision affirmed a judgment out of the district court for the District of New Hampshire. And not every justice agreed. 3 actually dissented. Justice Samuel Alito wrote one of these dissents, and according to his opinion, he called it a, quote, serious mistake by the court. The president responded on Truth Social, and according to his post, Trump said the ruling was, quote, too bad for our country, but said Congress could still act through legislation and pledged his, quote, complete and total support for that effort. So here's where this actually stood this morning. The Constitution, according to the Supreme Court's official opinion, guaranteed birthright citizenship as it had always been understood, and any change to that would now have to come from Congress and not the White House alone. We're watching for what happens next on Capitol Hill. When we come back, a different case, a different outcome. The Supreme Court turned down President Trump's appeal in the E. Jean Carroll case, and we'll tell you what that does and doesn't mean. Stay with us. Next this morning, another case out of the Supreme Court. This one wasn't a ruling on the merits, it was a decision to not rule at all. The court declined Monday to hear President Trump's appeal in one of two civil cases brought by the writer E. Jean Carroll. That meant a $5 million jury verdict against him stood. Carroll alleged Trump sexually assaulted her in a dressing room at Bergdorf Goodman in Manhattan in the mid-1990s. Trump denied these allegations, and here's what the decision actually meant. A cert denial is not a ruling on the underlying facts. The Supreme Court did not rule on whether Trump assaulted or defamed Carroll. It declined to review a lower court's decision and left that decision in place. None of the 9 justices, including 3 appointed by President Trump in his first term, noted a dissent. Trump's appeal argued the trial judge wrongly allowed testimony from 2 other women who accused him of sexual abuse decades earlier, and wrongly allowed jurors to hear the Access Hollywood tape. The Second Circuit Court of Appeals rejected those arguments back in 2024, and the panel wrote what the evidence showed in what it called a repeated idiosyncratic pattern of conduct consistent with Carroll's accounts. With that Monday's denial and that ruling standing, and Trump has actually filed this appeal back in November, and the Supreme Court rescheduled consideration of the case roughly 15 times before Monday's denial. Georgetown law professor Steve Leidig said publicly that the court gave no explanation for the repeated delays, and it's worth being precise about what was resolved here and what wasn't. The denial closed at the $5 million verdict. Trump had a separate, larger verdict, $83.3 million, and that was still working through the appeals process. That case was not a part of Monday's decision or indecision. Carroll's attorneys said that, quote, combined with interest, Trump owed her close to $100 million across both cases. And one more piece of context, the Justice Department opened a criminal investigation into Carroll, examining whether she had committed perjury during her civil lawsuits against Trump. That investigation began after Trump filed this appeal and remained ongoing. Carroll's attorney, Roberta Kaplan, the decision affirmed the jury's unanimous verdict and said it quote, ends his quest to avoid accountability for his actions, end quote. And Carroll posted her own reaction, writing, quote, we won, this is a win for every woman in the world, end quote. A spokesman for Trump's legal team called the case, quote, a Democrat-funded travesty, and said they would continue to fight. Coming up, we have one more ruling out of the Supreme Court, so stay tuned for that. One more Supreme Court decision to bring you this morning, and this one touched every state on the list ahead of November. The court ruled 5-4 that states can count mail-in ballots that arrive after Election Day as long as they were postmarked on time. And the case was Watson versus Republican National Committee, the case coming out of Mississippi. Mississippi law allowed absentee ballots to be counted up to 5 business days after the election as long as they were postmarked by Election Day. The RNC challenged that law, along with the Mississippi Republican Party and the Libertarian Party of Mississippi. They argued federal law set a single Election Day deadline and that ballots had to be received by then, not just sent by then. Justice Amy Coney Barrett wrote the majority opinion. According to the court's opinion, federal Election Day statutes set the day voting took place. They didn't say anything about when the ballots had to be received. The court wrote that it would not add words to the statute that Congress didn't put there. Barrett was joined by Chief Justice John Roberts, and the court's three Democratic appointed justices. 4 justices dissented: Samuel Alito, Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, and Brett Kavanaugh. According to Alito's dissent, counting late arriving ballots effectively delayed the date on which the electorate's choice was made, and he wrote that federal law did not allow that. And here's where this ruling actually covered and what it didn't. This Mississippi's law specifically, but the reasoning applied to roughly 30 states with similar receipt deadlines for mailed ballots, and it did not decide every open question about mail voting. A separate case involving in Arizona and proof of citizenship requirements was still ahead of the court next term. The White House had backed the RNC's challenge. President Trump called the ruling a tremendous loss in a post on Truth Social and renewed for his call for Congress to pass the Save America Act. Senate Majority Leader John Thune said the votes weren't there to pass it. And the RNC chairman, Joe Grutters, said that in a statement, the committee would keep pushing for what he called a single unified election day. 3 major rulings from the Supreme Court this morning: birthright citizenship, the Carroll case, and now mail-in ballots. When we come back, we leave Washington for Colorado, where voters just ended a nearly 30-year run in Congress. Now to Colorado, where Tuesday's primary ended nearly a 30-year career in Congress. 29-year-old Malat Quiros, a Democratic Socialist and first-time candidate, defeated 15-term Representative Diana DeJette in the Democratic primary for Colorado's 1st District. The Associated Press called the race on Tuesday, and Quiros led with 49% of the vote to DeJette's 44%, with the third candidate, University of Colorado Regent Wanda James, taking just over 7%. The jet had represented the district since 1997, the same year Kiros was actually born. The district covered the city and county of Denver, and according to the Cook's Political Reports Partisan Voting Index, it leaned 21 points more Democratic than the national average. The most Democratic district in Colorado and in the Mountain West. Because of that lean, Kiros was favored to win the seat outright in November. Kiros was a lawyer turned doctoral student. She was endorsed by the Democratic Socialists of America, the group Justice Democrats, and Senator Bernie Sanders. And if she wins in November, she'd be the first member of Generation Z to serve as a woman in Congress. And that result didn't happen in isolation. It was the latest in a string of primary wins for DSA-backed candidates this cycle. 1 week earlier in New York, DSA endorsed candidate Daria Avila Chevalier defeated incumbent Congressman Adriano Espaillat, the chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and another DSA-aligned candidate, Claire Valdez, won the Democratic primary for an open seat being vacated by retiring Congresswoman Nadia Velazquez. And going to this year, the DSA counted 2 sitting members of Congress, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York and Rashid Tlaib of Michigan, with Kiros's win. The organization is on track for at least 5. 2 other results came out of Colorado as well. In the 8th District, State Representative Manny Rotenell won the Democratic nomination, defeating former state senator Shannon Byrd. He will face Republican incumbent Gabe Evans in November in a district the Cook Political Report rated as a toss-up. And in the governor's race, Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser won the Democratic nomination, defeating Senator Michael Bennet. He'll run to succeed the term-limited Governor Jared Polis. And we're going to keep tracking these primary results as more states weigh in this summer. And next, we go overseas, an update on Iran. Turning overseas now to Iran. The United States and Iran held indirect technical level talks in Doha this week. Qatar and Pakistan mediated, and neither U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff nor White House official Jared Kushner attended in person. They met separately with Qatar's prime minister the day before to lay the groundwork for that session. This went back to a memorandum of understanding that President Donald Trump and Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian signed on June 17th. Under that agreement, Iran committed to what it called its best efforts to allow toll-free passage through the Strait of Hormuz, but only for 60 days, while the two sides worked a final deal. And since that memorandum was signed, Iranian officials had said repeatedly that they intended to charge what they call service fees for the vessels passing through the strait. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps said that vessels could only pass under certain conditions, and the International Maritime Organization logged 49 confirmed incidents in the Strait of Hormuz and the wider Middle East as of June 30th. The messaging out of Tehran was mixed. Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister Kazim Garibadabi said that this week the working groups had been formed to implement the memorandum and negotiate a final agreement through formal talks in that format hadn't started yet. At the same time, Iran's parliament speaker, Mohammad Bakir Ghalibaf, said Iran was, in his words, quote, not negotiating with the United States at all. Vice President J.D. Vance said the U.S. would judge Iran by its actions and not its statements. And one more development heading into the holiday weekend, Iranian state media outlets Foreign News published a schedule for funeral ceremonies for Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, who was killed in February when this conflict began. And those ceremonies were set to run through July 3rd and July 9th across Tehran, Qom, and the Iraqi cities of Najaf and Karbala, ending with burial in Mashhad. That meant as this country marked its 250th birthday this weekend, Iran was marking the funeral of its own former supreme leader on the same calendar days. We'll continue to follow both the Hormuz negotiations and the broader region and in the days ahead. Now, on this 250th Independence Day, we close this morning's broadcast. Stay tuned. Before we go this morning, I want to take a minute and talk to you directly. This was our first broadcast. We picked today on purpose. 250 years since this country declared itself something new. We wanted to start the exact same way. Here's what we owe you every single morning we're on the air. Every claim we make will get a source, a government record, a court document, an official statement. Not a rumor, not a hunch, not something we heard secondhand. If we can't point to where it came from, we don't say it. We are going to be precise with our language, even when precise is less exciting than the alternative. A committee vote is not a law. A court declining to hear a case is not a ruling on the facts. A claim is not the same thing as a fact, and we're not going to blur that line to make a story feel bigger than it is. We're not going to tell you what to think about what we report. Our job is to get you the facts cleanly and get out of the way. What you do with them, how you weigh it, who you vote for, and what you believe, that's yours, not ours. That's not a slogan. That's the whole reason this network exists, for you to decide. We know trust in this business has to be earned, story by story, morning by morning. We're asking for the chance to earn it with you. I'm Elijah Iraeta. Thank you for spending your Independence Day with us. This is Saber News Channel, reporting America. We'll see you Monday morning.